Feels thread? I'll start. Be me. Be 8. Find out my mom has cancer. She sits in a room and cries for the entire day. I don't know what cancer is. B the next day, when my parents are trying to explain everything to me. They tell me cancer is a disease, but it doesn't kill. Gradually, my mom loses her hair. She becomes pale and emaciated. She ends up beating the cancer by the time I'm 10. B 10. She has beautiful, long black hair. My family is happy once again. When I turn 11, I find out she's been diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm told it's a disease that doesn't kill, again. She struggles with it on and off for 1.5 years. Her health starts to decline. She moves in with my aunt because our house is starting to fall apart. She gets weak and emaciated again. I'm still sure she's going to beat it. She's gotten really bad. She's in the hospital every day. I never visit her because I hate the hospital. I'm still the only one who doesn't understand. A couple of days later, I'm walking home from school. I'm 13 by now. I see her and my dad pull up. She has no chance, so they're letting her go on the long car rides she always loved. I'm mad at them for grounding me. They tell me it's for my own good, and that the kids I was hanging around with were bad. My mom tells me in a voice that sounds hollow and very weak. I wish you'd just come and see me once in a while. I don't want you to regret it. They ask me to get in the car with them, but I tell them to fuck off. A few days later, she's in a coma, and not expected to wake up. I finally go to the hospital with my dad, but it's too late. I'm told they're taking her off of her medication. Slowly, you can see her heart rate decreasing. It feels when those kids I hung out with ended up getting arrested, because they were bad kids. That feel when your big brother gets your girlfriend pregnant. That feel when she tells you that your relationship wasn't special. The feel when you loved this girl. 9 months later, she dies in labor. Your older brother tries to raise the baby with his 2 shit jobs, but he ends up ODing on meds from depression. You agree to raise the baby, so it doesn't become a ward of the state. That feel when you can see your girlfriend and his child, and you raise her for about a year. That feel when she calls you daddy. Be me. 13 years old. 9/11/2001. I want to join army at 18 for God, country, and to kill Muslims. I turn 18 and join the army. I finish infantry school in full hard charger Knights Templar mode. Ship out to Iraq. Get to Mosul, ready to do my crusader thing. On patrol and a firefight starts. My first combat experience. I move to a house to take cover. We breach the door and start clearing room to room. I enter a bedroom and see a person move. I get kind of panicky. I put my dot on the person and fire 3 shots. They fall to the ground. I look up from the person and see a small child on the bed. He screams and dives on what I now see as an unarmed old man. The man gurgles and stares at me as he bleeds to death. The little boy is yelling at me, holding the old man's head and hand with tears pouring down his face. I just stand there. I can't even process what I had just done. I back out of the room and we continue on with our fight. I still see that old man's face every night, his eyes still staring straight through to mine. I still hear the little boy's screams. Only alcohol or strong medication can even get me to sleep. I don't even feel like a person anymore. B, about 2 years ago. Best friend gets diagnosed with cancer and is slowly dying. Feelsbadman.jpg. I visit her every week and try to cheer her up. One day, I bring Cowboy Bebop to watch with her. After we got hooked on the first episode, we decided to watch one episode every time I came to visit. As time progresses, my friend gets worse. About a week after episode 25, my friend passes away. Her mother came over to my house one day and gave me a small box. Your friend wanted you to have this. Goodbye, Anon. I open the box. It's a picture of us and a DVD disc of Cowboy Bebop. I pop in the disc and watch. As Spike's death scene comes along, I fall into tears, and I turn my head to see the picture of her smiling. Everything stops as I stare at her smiling happily beneath the small glass frame. Spike raises his fingers up and looks me dead in the eye. Bang. I stare at her picture as I sob like a little bitch. I see something written underneath of her smile. As I put the disc away, I notice something white underneath of the picture. I take out a small piece of paper and clench my fist as I try to hold back the feels. See you, Space Cowboy. B, 35-year-old, kissless virgin. I visited my parents for the first time in a couple of months. Things were quiet and they were noticeably pissed off at me. I ask them why they're so distant towards me today. My parents say they've had it with me. I'm confused, because I've always tried to be a good son. Parents say that they want grandchildren and want me to start a family already. They're ashamed of talking about me with their friends, and they said that they pretend like they don't even have a son most of the time. They guilt me about being unmarried and childless. Dad says it was my time to grow up and be a man years ago, and yet I'm still acting like a kid. I tell him it's not that simple, and I'm just having a hard time. He tells me he's tired of all of my excuses, and tells me I'm 35. He says by the time he was my age, he was married and I was in middle school. I tell him that I'm not him. He says damn right I'm not, and says he has a hard time believing I'm even his son. Dad says he wishes he had another son, and tells me I'm just one big disappointment. Why do they have to be like that? Why do they have to make me feel like shit on top of everything else? I had the best dad in the world. Always used to play with me after work. Really loved me and my bro. One day, I came back from elementary school. My mom was all furious and angry and stuff. I asked her what happened and where my dad was. She told me he broke up with her, got another woman and kid. I didn't understand the world. My dad would never do such a thing. I went to my room. After 5 hours, I realized my dad would not come back. I was really sad. I started crying and stuff. 1 month passed. Not a single sign from my dad. The next 3 months, my sadness changed to anger. How could he just leave me without even saying goodbye? Years passed. I started to forget about him. I already had a family and owned kids. I loved them really much. The more I loved my children, the more I could not understand how he could have done that to me. One day, my aunt called me saying my dad was about to die of cancer. I didn't give a flying fuck. He forgot about me. Later, my wife told me I had to go visit him. I arrived at my hometown hospital. Everyone was there, even my mom for some reason. Everybody was crying. He had just died. I didn't shed a single tear. 3 days later, my mom gave me a fucking huge basket full of letters and told me that it was from my dad to me, and she was sorry that she never gave them to me. My heart was crushed. Moments of silence. I then went apeshit and hit my mom in the face. Later, went to my dad's flat to take some things and other stuff. There was no fucking other family. It was a one-man flat with one bed, and in the middle of the living room, in the middle of the fucking living room, there was a picture of my brother, my mom, and me.